Tahmoh Penikett. Go ahead and form lines with the two microphones. Please do. Those don't work? This one does, so I'll just pass it around. Please keep your questions simple, not multi-part, and respectful of our guests. And somebody gets you a microphone quickly, and there you go.
Okay, hello. My question is, with all of the real-life issues that are addressed in Battlestar Galactica, like the abortion issue and the suicide bombers, how, as actors, do you take that and your personal, visceral response and put that, add that to your character, I guess, or address that with your character?
I would just say that's actually a really good question. First of all, I really think actors love to be in stories that actually have something to say about what's going on, that have relevance to all the issues that we're all facing. So it actually makes it easier, I think, for an actor, especially me, that when I'm doing material that actually addresses real issues, and obviously through a creative imagining, but it's still dealing with real issues that we have real feelings for, actors are always trying to connect the material to their gut, to their heart, to their emotion, as opposed to just intellectualizing something. And many times actors really have to stretch to make material work. But when you have material like this, it's very easy. It actually makes it very easy to get in touch with your feelings, your emotions, and really be able to channel the scene in a more powerful way. So yeah, I love when you write material that is relevant.
Yeah, I really can't answer much better than that. It's obviously with our show too, I mean, the parallels are obvious. We've been living in a pretty tumultuous situation for a while now. You know, the last 4 years, and you know, a lot of issues that are dealt with on Battlestar. I mean, they make it easy to because we're really dealing with them in a real world sense ourselves, and it's really about, just like Richard said, like as an actor, you're trying to connect it to your own experiences. And it's not so much intellectual, it really is, it's easy when it's so well written as this show is. It makes our job a lot easier.
My question is for Richard. We've heard that a lot of the Zarek storyline was cut from this season. And I was wondering if you could just tell us what those storylines were and if they actually filmed any of that.
Well, I think Tahmoh would concur that on this show they really shoot, they overshoot a lot. They have probably an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half of material, and they have to cut it down. And there are some very powerful storylines on this show, and it's very, very hard to explore all of them fully. But also, they like having options when they get in the editing room and deciding what they feel is stronger, what they want to go with. Or sometimes they will film something, especially with my character for some reason. He's always kind of thrown into these situations as the provocateur, the initiator of something, and then he kind of disappears. You know, you wonder where the frack did he go, and I'm sure he's wandering the hallways of the Underground Railroad, you know, trying to work a deal. I don't know, but nevertheless, it's hard as an actor because you may do a really cool scene that seems to be leading somewhere really dramatic and theatrical, and then you find the scene is cut because they decided not to go down that direction. But really, it's not personal. There's just a lot of wonderful characters in this show, and there's very little time, unfortunately, with only 46 minutes or 44 minutes, whatever it happens to be, of time to actually tell a story. You can't tell every story. So hopefully somewhere, you know, they'll be on DVDs and they'll be on, you know, things coming out later where they might explore that thing. But thanks for asking. I wish. It's painful for an actor to feel like you did really, really good work, a great scene, and then discover that it's not there. But that's part of the business. I mean, actors have to deal with the agony and the ecstasy every single day in this business.
I can't tell you how many times I've read a scene for Helo, especially in the first couple seasons, where I actually had a scene in more than like 1 or 2 lines in it. It was a lengthy scene, and I got so excited. And then I began to figure out right away that once we started getting revisions, the scene would just get chopped down more and more and more. And it's just really what it comes down to is just like Richard said, you've got 42 minutes or 40 minutes of television, and they always overshoot, but they end up having to trim off so much.
it's really funny to watch a scene where you have all these wonderful lines and it's just close-ups and reaction shots, you know. But nevertheless, that's the life of an actor.
Without giving us any spoilers, what was your reaction to reading the series finale? Because there were a lot of reports. Mary McDonnell was talking about, Mary and Katie were talking at the LA Times Emmy screening a couple months ago, saying that a lot of the guys cried.
Yeah, I cried when I read it. I cried a couple times in my trailer. We were all talking about it, and those of us who had read it already were just like sort of walking around shaking their head in disbelief at just how incredible it was. It's just such an amazing conclusion to this epic series. And yeah, I was really surprised too. It's so good, man. I can't tell you how good it is. Like, honestly, I've said this many, many times, but this is the only time in this show, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of actors who have a lot of opinions about scripts and the way they should be done, especially after a couple of years, right? Well, we should have done this with my character, and this, and I didn't agree with this, and what have you. I mean, you know, yeah, everyone's got different opinions, of course, but everyone was on board for this, and nobody had anything negative to say. They were like, it's perfect.
It's so. People don't realize that acting is a lot more than just a job. I mean, it truly is a passion. And when you get to be part of something that means something to you personally, a story that you care about, characters that you basically bonded with, and it comes to the end, it's just as emotional, maybe even more so for the actors as it is for the audience watching. Because you know this is reaching a conclusion, and you're going to be moving on. And, you know, having a family for any length of time is a rarity in this business, and these are people that really care about each other. And it's kind of sad and very hard and very painful to say, you know, goodbye to such a wonderful group of people where you really felt that you could do your very best work. So, yeah.
Well said. Yeah, I kept on reminding myself, too, after I read it. I'm like, well, we still have 3 weeks shooting. We still have 3 weeks shooting. It's fine. Don't break down yet.
This question goes back to the end of season 3, and I don't know how much communication you have with the writers and how much knowledge or insight you might have to something they did, but one of the things that I'm most interested in, most obsessed with, is the 46 years of unparalleled work by Bob Dylan. So obviously the usage of All Along the Watchtower was fascinating to me, and I've been scratching my head trying to figure out, you know, it was just such an interesting choice for them. Do you have any kind of knowledge or insight from talking with the writers or the other cast members about how that decision was made and why they chose to use that song? And do you have any thoughts on it in general?
Do you know how to answer this one?
Yeah. I can actually answer this one. Ron Moore, some of you may remember, was showrunner on Roswell for several seasons. So Roswell used a lot of pop music, and Watchtower is a song that's fascinated him for decades. And it never made it into Roswell, but he always wanted to use it in something. And then when they had this idea that everything has happened before, everything has happened again, somebody came up with the idea of, why can't we use something that exists already but alter it to make it fit more Galactica-like? And the notion that, you know, we still kind of haven't pinned down what time period we are in the show, but we now have some suspicions after the mid-season finale. But that's pretty much why, because it was an it's a great song with great lyrics that really fit the situation, and it's something that he's wanted to do as a writer, just to kind of make these ties, and this is a parallel culture, which is why it's so much like our culture, because we did come from them, possibly.
In the second half hour here, I have a trailer playing the song that shows those excerpts that Bear McCreary put together. So if I get a chance, I'll play that.